Hello, welcome along to the Worst Idea of All Time podcast. My name's Guy Montgomery.
My name is Tim Batt.
And this week we have a very special guest. What's your name?
I'm David Farrier. It's nice to be here with you guys. Big fan, and it's nice to be sitting here after watching Grown Ups 2 for me for the first time.
That's right.
David Farrier, 3 News reporter and kind of freelance journalist.
Freelance everyman. Parrot owner. Pink t-shirt
actor.
wearer.
Yep, actor.
Dreamer.
Short poppies.
Dancer.
I'll take
lover.
Visionary.
The food critic.
All true. I'll take any opportunity that comes my way, including being here with you guys on this podcast.
Thank you.
And the first thing I realized, I don't know how quickly we want to get into this, but
Just dive in.
Got this film confused with the Hot Tub Time Machine film or franchise in my head, where you've got this big ensemble of comedians in their sort of 30s, 40s, 50s, all coming together.
And today.
So, there you go.
And so, I mean,
Hot Tub Time Machine.
you were just expecting more time spent in a jacuzzi, presumably?
Well, no, I just thought this film, because I haven't seen either of these movies, and I thought that, for some reason, I thought it was about a group of friends traveling back in time to sort of relive their youth another time. But of course, being called Grown Ups, I thought it was about that. But of course, that's Hot Tub Time Machine.
In a way, it's not about that.
Yeah.
No, obviously, this is about a group of men who are
Regressing.
Yeah, regressing. I don't know if they've ever never not regress. I mean, I don't think they've ever matured beyond puberty.
They're just goofing around. Just a couple of guys, could be anyone, just goofing around.
They're just having a day together. And I mean, for me, this film was
You sound like Peter Dante, cast member Peter Dante.
Jesus.
In a press release he did for the movie.
Trying to describe.
You're actually quoting a press release for the movie.
This film is about a group of guys walking around their town, from shop to outside location to another store to a home.
Yeah.
Just living their lives.
You had a lot of questions throughout the viewing, David, about well,
it was
where's
weird
the story?
It was weird for me because I listened to the podcast, and so watching it for the first time, because I knew you could answer any questions I had as the movie went on.
Yeah.
So of course I'd tap into that.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird experience because...
Well, a lot of your questions don't have answers, though.
No.
Like, where's the plot? There's no answer to that.
I can genuinely say I have not watched a film before that's got no plot points and mainly no conflict. There's no point where I'm worried for any of these characters in their lives.
But that's not necessarily no conflict. That's just that's poorly made. You're not invested in any one thing in the film.
It's both. I think it's both.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of time to spend with something in which you have no investment or interest.
No, and it spreads your interest.
We've done it for a year, mate.
It seems to just spread things too thinly. There's so many people popping up. The instant you maybe start to think, oh, this is a character I'd like to spend more time with, you're on to 10, 15, 20 other people.
When did you think that?
I thought at the beginning, I thought the guy, a couple of them. Who was the one that was a bit like Kevin James?
His brother, the principal Cardio.
There was a guy in there. I don't even know. That's the thing. I can't even remember a lot of those characters. There was nothing.
It scrambles your brains, doesn't it?
They do, and they introduce characters at a rate at the start, especially.
Mad.
Just like, all right, okay, you got that one. Now here's 3 more. Okay, now here's 9 more. Now here's 27 more characters, and now.
But when the
and all in a new setting.
Here's 121 new characters to learn.
You could feel the directions on the script just jumping out at you. It's like, right, now we're in a house. Now we're in a Kmart. Now we're in another house. Now we're at this lake, and it just went. You're just jumping from location.
Someone's
to location.
cousin works in like set design and building, like the mafia of Hollywood. Is Adam Sandler's cousins who work in set design and building, and they just muscled in to hire out a whole lot of work for themselves. They wrote the script.
They wrote the script
because there is that mystery of it's Adam Sandler. It's him. Without Adam Sandler, this film wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
but he occupies this place in Hollywood now where he can get, because people go to this film, so he gets a return on these terrible films, and so he keeps making them.
Well, I mean, there's a few points, because in discussing it with several different people through the podcast, there's a few points which are constantly raised, and one of them is that, do you not think it looks like a lot of fun for them to make that movie? Because no one's invested in the product. It's just
Because hasn't Adam Sandler talked about this? He just does a movie if it's fun.
Yeah.
If it's like, essentially...
He did that one with Drew Barrymore because he wanted to go to the location. So it was a holiday with a movie
so
tacked
he'll
on.
do that film. But they're joking around on set. There's nothing... There's no big investment from them. They turn up each day. They probably get fed quite well. They're with their friends.
Phenomenal catering. Probably get Blaze pizza.
Yeah.
Get that juice. What was the juice that kept...
Oh, they get
out?
Mott's.
Mott's juice. That's the juice of choice in grown-ups too.
I want to try some Mott's juice now.
Oh, yeah.
Tony,
I'm
have you got
craving some Mott's
juice.
Some Pepsi. Maybe we can nip down to Kmart and see what they've got.
Guy, do you know what I like to do when I'm on Venice Beach after I visited my mate Paddy at Gold's?
What,
And I've
you've
also
had
just
pretty
got a
intense
slice.
workout, throwing some tin around. And you've got some Blaze pizza.
Throwing a slice or two of
On this
Blaze pizza
perfect
down, mate.
Sunday, Tim, what could you possibly want to top off that perfect combination of activities?
I actually forgot where I was going with that. I got lost
Mott's.
halfway
You want
through.
Mott's juice.
Oh, yeah, Mott's.
Something I liked about the film, I'm big into CGI creatures in films, and they made real good use of that CG deer.
Yeah.
Just trampling through the house. Clearly wasn't real. Was clearly a bit
wasn't
of
bad
CG
CGI, though.
tomfoolery.
What do you think?
I think it was pretty bad.
Do you
I
think-
think that was pretty bad CG.
Do you think the dog is real?
The dog. There were a couple of scenes where the dog was a prop, where someone's definitely holding it up. It was never CG, but there was a couple of points where it was a real dog.
But like,
Definitely.
they've put a weird filter on it or something. Like Mayfair, the dog comes out looking real odd.
It
Like
does.
Mayfair. Are you quoting Instagram filters as like colour grades on one animal?
Thought it would be a
grown-ups
funny thing
do?
to say.
That is funny.
David Spade, what's he been doing until now?
Oh, Just Shoot Me was pretty
Just
good. What
shoot
was
me.
that? Just the other day?
Joe
That was-
Dirt.
Joe Dirt, meet Joe Dirt.
He's doing a second Joe Dirt film, I think.
I think he's been doing some
Jesus.
stand-up. I've seen some
Oh yeah,
stand-up videos.
he's done some stand-up recently.
He's
he did
back-
a really good WTF.
Back on
with
the
Mark Maron.
club circuit. I haven't heard that one. I would love to hear that.
He's funny.
I rate David Spade.
It was, but the other thing, like when
How did you feel
I'm
about
jumping
David?
around, I don't know, it felt weird. It dragged. It started off very pacey, and you were jumping from location to location. There were a lot of gags coming thick and fast, but I think like the last third went pretty slow. Like it was just,
Yeah, man.
It was at the one party.
It drags. Well,
God, it dragged. And then by the time the credits ran, I was picturing people. Because when the credits are up, I'm always reminded that I'm in the cinema. I've just seen a great film, as opposed to in your lounge now.
yeah.
Sure.
And you're wondering about the discussions people are having when they're leaving that cinema. Like, guys, oh God, that was good. You know, oh God, I want to see it again.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very different discussion to when you leave that film to when you've left Interstellar. or
I
something.
thought you were going to say Interstellar. Yeah.
It's such a, but people paid money to see that.
But what
Good-
do you talk
good
about
money.
on the ride
What, do you be
home
like,
after
gags?
Grown Ups
like,
too?
Remember when that,
No, 'cause
fucking,
well,
that deer
okay.
got a bra stuck
I
to
remember-
its antlers?
I imagine like a 14-year-old teenage boy is probably who's going to love this movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
I was way too sophisticated.
I'm thinking if I'm
when I was
as a
14.
14-year-old teenage boy, if I left a movie like that, I can't imagine enjoying it even though I probably would have back then. But I'm like, you'd be quoting. You'd just be quoting. You're going, that poor old lady, or who wants to watch me climb a rope? And you're just walking out the cinema, just
I know this-
parroting your favorite.
I know
tidbit.
this is slightly a different point to the one you're trying to make, but I love that you're grabbing catchphrases from like all these accidental side characters where they've probably made it up on the day and no one wrote
You're
that
like,
in the
"What?"
script.
That would
Exactly.
be one. That would be one that would stick with me.
Yeah.
What we're supposed to be saying is like,
Yeah.
what? Or burp snarting, like one of us busts out one of those. That's what they intended to
What
be
do
the
you-
catchphrases.
What do you meant to take away from that movie? I guess you just meant to have had a laugh.
Having a
Did you
laugh.
have a laugh?
I know. I really the physical gags. God, they got me. Whenever an inflatable boat was inflated, suddenly hilarious.
Twice.
Shaq.
They went back
in
to
little,
that water fountain.
Shaq in that little playhouse, just
Yeah.
kind of his head poking up.
That's
Because
good, eh?
Shaq's so big and the playhouse is so small.
That's funny. That's
The juxtaposition. Jinx, personal jinx.
Uh-oh.
Tim back.
Thanks,
We're
mate.
friends.
Oh, thanks, mate.
I know. I took some notes. I'm just going to have a look through the notes that I took.
Okay.
Oh, that fitness class with the woman.
It's Squat Robics 101.
Yeah, squat
Yeah,
aerobics.
with John
where
Lovitz.
our janitor came in and started sort of... Because, I mean, I've been reading a few essays recently, like, you know, people talking about the roles of female in film and sort of how... in the role, specifically in Fast and Furious, how females are used in those films and like males and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But females in this film are just kind of,
That's it.
God, it's the worst example. They've got nothing. They're either to do with a male character or they're there for a gag. And
That's
that
it.
particular scene was the worst case because they're all idiots. You know, the janitor wanders in.
There's obviously a janitor.
Obviously, and suddenly
Still got his buckets.
they're squatting, they're turning around, they're slapping their bums for him.
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be a Gina Davis of our generation.
And then,
We need one.
When old hottie dude walks in, they're all
Paul
then
Hudson.
it instantly goes into, oh, you're so
Yeah,
hot,
they
can
were
I date you?
swooning,
Oh,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
gay. Fucking
They
hilarious.
get really angry as well when they
Real
find out
angry.
he's gay, like mobbish.
That scene for me, I guess, was stuck in my head because it was so, God, it was dumb.
Yeah.
It was real dumb.
You've got to meet the movie on its terms, though.
That's the Dom
And
Coreyism.
That's the Dom Coreyism right there. And like, this is not a movie that is looking to
Yeah, true.
impact social change.
Yeah, true.
4 guys get together, and I believe I'll quote you yourself, David. They have a day.
That is the movie.
They're walking around the town, and what a day it was. It started in bed.
Oh, that's the funny thing.
Just back to that deer coming in.
Yeah.
Were they? Because I thought when that first started, I thought they'd just moved into a forest or something, like they'd moved house or something, and that
Yeah,
would be
and
part of the plot.
Connecticut and
They're
a
in
city
Connecticut,
called
so there's deer
Stanton.
around.
Like, well, obviously they own some land because when they're doing the scene out the front of the driveway, like they're somewhat removed from the house. Like, there's trees around the house. There's an off chance maybe they live near a nature reserve, and there could be some deer
That would
wander. Maybe
in.
a curious deer wanders into the.
I don't think it's rural though. They seem
Doesn't look rural, but it's a leafy town. It feels like there's trees
like a
everywhere.
lifestyle
It
block.
was just
Yeah.
such a bold start to the film, and it didn't have a lot to do with the rest
Yeah.
of it, except for in the end when that deer hilariously got the
Yeah.
bad guy.
I
in the
don't think.
nuts,
Yeah, you would
know?
not have. You would not have been a hit in the scriptwriters' room for this one, Dave.
It was just.
But what?
I don't know. I was pissing on everyone.
Yeah,
Pissed on
the
Ed
deer
in
just
the
starts
shower,
urinating
pissed
because
on
it's
Adam
funny
Sandler.
when animals piss on people, man.
It's funny.
That's
It is
comedy. That's
Yeah.
hashtag comedy. Hashtag hilarious.
Yeah, a lot of physical. I guess for me, the thing I take from the film was I really enjoyed the physical gags, the poo coming out, the ice cream coming out from the ice cream dispenser.
I need to ask you an important question, David. Because you've only seen the film once, so this is great. Did you?
I love that about you.
Did you notice a huge amount of product placement? Did brands pop out at you, or was
Things
it
popped
tastefully
out.
done?
I mean, it was the Kmart they were in, or the Walmart. There was a store
Kmart,
that
come
they
on,
were
that
in.
is sacrilegious on this
Sorry.
podcast. It's so obviously Kmart.
I didn't think Kmart was an American thing. I thought it was just all
Someone
Walmart.
else said that.
I
Why
thought
did
Kmart
New
was
Zealand?
Australasia.
Why do New Zealanders think that
Mate,
we
well,
started Kmart?
I thought we started Kmart.
It's an American brand.
Maybe Kmart's launching in America now, and they just thought, well, how can we
Anyway.
get our name out there? We'll whack a shitload of money in an Adam Sandler flick.
Kmart jumped out, and when they're in that supermarket towards the end there, or the middle, when was it? God, I don't even know.
The supermarket.
It's
It's
in the
about
third.
to
It's in the third movement.
There were products jumping out, but I mean, what sort of product placement does that put in your brain? I mean, do you leave thinking, I saw that juice
I better
in that-
buy some
Something.
pizza, juice, milk,
But
grated
it's
cheese.
not like like a car or something they're driving. It's like a juice behind
I
some
like that.
dudes in a cinema.
It's not. They're not going to be anything specific. They're just like, just go out there and buy some shit. Like, that's the product placement of the movie. Is commercialism.
yeah, I
Yeah,
wonder-
but that's the beauty of product placement. I love it. I love
What do you
it.
want after you watch that movie? What do you want to walk out of the door and buy?
Fuck, do you know what I could go, right? I could go a Mott's juice box right
Yeah.
now. I could
Just
down
a
one of them.
Mott's.
David,
Stick with
right now,
Mott's.
one thing. You walk out the door. What would you go and buy?
Oh, Mott's, hands down. That's
Yeah.
all done. I mean, it's
Mott's
that
are winning.
delicious
So
juice.
refreshing.
We don't have Mott's, yeah?
We are actually just a word to anyone. If you do work at Mott's, we are still interested in sponsorship from
Dude,
wherever that may come.
We need money because
So-
number one, apparently I have to buy a $250 T-shirt because someone called me on my bullshit.
That's right. Good work, fans. So in an early podcast, David, Tim Batt said, you know that catchphrase "what" that Tim Meadows tries out through the whole movie. Tim said at some point, I haven't heard the quote, but he said, I would spend if someone made a T-shirt with that catchphrase on it, I would spend like $250 on that. And someone, a fan, has made the T-shirt
Jesus.
and set the price tag at $250.
Oh, my
But I
God.
love that they've gone to a lot of trouble too because they've looked at the current currency conversion because it's a US store, so they've got it exactly at this odd amount, which equals exactly $250.
No, but that's
New Zealand.
exactly the sort of audience member you guys have got. That's exactly
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
listening.
Like,
It's
I don't
that
know.
kind of brain.
And I
I
do
don't know
think
who's
I
listening.
think you should spend that money on that too.
I have to. There's no way around it. But like, that's a lot of money.
That is.
I'm gutted. I'm super gutted, but there's no way around it. I've got to.
Quick stray observation. Two things I wanted to raise briefly.
Please.
The scene where they're all sort of jumping nude into the water.
Yes.
There.
Off Suicide 35
young
off the top rock.
They were off. They were doing the whoop whoop. often, which is a Juggalo. Sort of, I think it's a Juggalo phrase. That's what I'm wondering, because the Juggalos,
Don't know a lot about Juggalos.
They're fans of Insane Clown Posse, and their catchphrase is "whoop whoop," which is what they were doing. Maybe I was mishearing it. Was it more of a woo woo?
No, dude, I reckon you're on
It
point.
was a bit of a whoop whoop.
Yeah, well, they were That's a Juggalo.
I mean, it
That's
feels
a
like
Juggalos
it does feel like an odd match as far as a affiliation with the Juggalos for grown-ups too. I don't feel like they're really targeting the Juggalos.
But that's the beautiful thing about Juggalos, bro. It is like
They're-
a brotherhood. It's very
Yeah.
egalitarian. They
time.
don't look through a lens of age or upbringing or.
No, it's all about inclusion and
It's
peace
really lovely.
and listening to the music of Insane Clown Posse. So I'll be curious about that link, whether there's anything in there or that was purely just...
You know, the ICP got investigated by the FBI for a while because they
No, it
were
was
like.
tax evasion, wasn't it? Or something?
I thought it was. I thought the FBI were concerned that it was a gang.
Oh, right, an
And
actual
there was a
gang
court
of-
case,
Right.
And they basically had to determine if the Juggalos
Were a
was a
gang.
gang. Turns out they're not. I think.
I really enjoyed that moment with the Juggalos. Oh, God, it was a terrible film. I had some other points
You got another
somewhere.
point?
I wrote down some notes.
Well, listen.
but-
While you're finding that.
I've actually just dug something up I'd like to do.
Oh
do as
yes,
well.
of course. Yeah.
While you find a point, if you would like to, we got a message on our Facebook page, and this is, I mean, we've received a few messages over the course of our time. But this is pretty impressive, well written sort of bit from VRDLC. It's a very unique name, presumably a pseudonym to try and hide from whoever that may be on the internet. Vilk. Okay, I'll read it to you. Thank you very much for this. It says, I just started listening to this, just finished episode 7, and I'm honoured that you have decided to share your slow descent into madness with the world. I have to say, I enjoyed Grown Ups too, and even I don't ever really want to watch it again. I love movies that are disasters. Not just bad movies, but actual shocking disasters. About once a year, I get the itch to see a genuine disaster, and Adam Sandler, surprisingly enough, really provides one. His bad movies are simply...
R-A-R-E. So like very occasionally.
Really. His bad movies are simply unfunny and boring, like the first Grown Ups was. But every once in a while, there is a disaster. There's an old dogs, or a Nick the bus driver is a tiny dicked porn star. I don't remember the name now, but he has a micro penis and makes a condom out of a pen cap so Christina Ricci doesn't get pregnant. What I feel makes Grown Ups 2 so special is that they didn't even try. They didn't try so hard that there isn't even a plot. There are no real antagonists. The closest thing to a problem that any character has is Sandler doesn't want a kid, and it's resolved when he decides that he does want a kid. That's it. And between the opening and closing scenes of Sandler and his wife in bed, there's an endless stream of sketches. Hearing you share your highlight of the recent viewing makes me smile, because it makes me remember my favourite moments. The winks at the cameras, the non-sequiturs, and most importantly, John Lovitz, who I'm sure you have heard by now was not merely a critic character on The Simpsons, but had his own amazing show called The Critic. When I watched Grown Ups 2, I had to stop and go back numerous times in order to send the highlights of the film to my friends via Snapchat. I lost a lot of friends that day, but the ones who stayed will be my friends forever. Thank you for sharing this with us. I couldn't do what you're doing, and I liked Grown Ups too. Isn't that a fucking incredible message?
Thank you so much, Vilk.
So well written,
Yeah.
well articulated, and all pretty good points.
Valid.
Although, I wouldn't call it a disaster. It's not a good film, but it's not a disaster like The Room is a disaster.
No, and this is the point, because so when Guy and I were kicking around movie titles for this kind of concept early on before we started, an early front runner was Con Air, but I was like, I genuinely think that movie is awesome.
I completely agree.
That's a sweet
Too
movie.
good.
And still Steve Buscemi, which I don't think we've ever thought of. But and the other thing, and then so like The Room, I kind of came to the list, and I was like, no, because The Room's so bad that you would enjoy multiple viewings of it.
Because it's bad. You're not enjoying this film because it's terrible. You're enjoying it.
not
There are
terrible.
some
It's
gags that are
nothing.
funny, and you're laughing at the gags.
Exactly. It's zero. It's not
it's
a
just
negative.
sort of neutral.
It's zero. This movie is nothing.
I always wonder, what was it like for you watching it with us? How did you feel we engaged with the film?
I felt I was impressed at the beginning that it was your cell phones were turned off, but then I thought you'd be sort of right into it, but you drifted at times. There was a lot of talk between the two of you. And that made it difficult for me to watch at times because I missed certain lines.
I was trying to
for
remind
instance,
Guy.
at the end where Adam Sandler is talking to his unborn child, through
We
his
could
wife's
probably
stomach.
recite that if you.
You were talking over that.
We can
and
do it
I
now.
Didn't know what happened.
And you wanted to know what happened.
Well, I did, because obviously it's him coming to terms with the fact he's a father, and that was the one, as your listener pointed out, that was the one bit of conflict. He didn't want this baby. That was the resolution to
Your
that when
bar's
he's
set
talking
too
to the
high.
baby, and I couldn't hear.
Okay, would you want to know what he says to the baby?
Please.
He makes a joke about how he wants to sleep with the ballet teacher. That he's saying to his unborn fetus.
Yeah.
That is, and
He's like tells someone first, hey, and you do ballet because
I gotta see that teacher again.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then
he's like, no, I'm just kidding. Your mum's totally all good. Okay, I'm gonna have sex with your mum now. Watch your head. And then just when they're about to have sex, he does a burp, a fart, and a sneeze at the same time. And he says he did it for the baby. There's your conflict resolution.
there's your foreplay. God,
Jesus, was that it?
Sandler is a storm of
all right,
sexuality.
Okay.
He's a
okay.
hurricane.
I thought maybe there was a moment of some sort of level of empathy
Well,
or
and
something.
in fairness, we should have given you the chance to
No, you
feel that for
accurately
yourself.
portrayed, and you have seen it how many times?
39.
39.
Jesus. Foley effects was my last point.
Oh, yes.
That fight towards the end.
Yeah.
The effects were very loud.
The punching.
The punching,
It's
people
sound effects
falling
you're
over.
talking.
It was overboard. It was really effective. It was like a cartoon.
Yeah.
It was fine.
There's a weird cartoon moment within it, and we'll go back to your point of audio production and just a tick, Dave. Bookmark that, where the principal, who has had blue paint constantly poured on himself and his belongings, and some sort of weird recurring
Ongoing
gag.
end of year gag.
So he has had paint poured on him on the last day of school by his students. He goes with it and dresses up as a Smurf. He then jumps out of a tree house, which he is inexplicably inside of for the
Drunk,
party.
swaying, looking at his wife and children.
Lands on 4 people, and in the only moment of true cartoon physics in the film, they then become completely painted with blue paint also.
I noticed that happened, but I thought I'd missed something.
You haven't. It doesn't. So the universe of Grown Ups 2 is not a universe where the physics are that different. You can't die. You're immortal. We learn this because Nick has multiple fatal injuries
Throughout the film.
and
the
yet
bus.
it's fine.
They all do. When they
Oh.
jump off Suicide 35, they all
So that's
receive what
fine.
would be.
I'm completely fine with it because some movies go, let's remove death because death's a bit of a bummer. So in our universe, death doesn't happen.
You don't
And
need
there's
to worry
cleavage
about-
everywhere.
You don't need to worry about these characters dying at any point.
Exactly.
But this blue paint.
The blue paint introduces a level of cartoon physics to the universe they've built, which is referenced nary for a second in any part of the film.
There's Nick. No, who's David Spade in the tire is pretty cartoonish.
It's possible though.
No, it's possible. You can roll the guy in a tire. I completely bought that. The transfer of blue
Not for a
paint.
whole
The
town
transfer
like
of blue
that.
paint
That's
is
crazy.
metaphysical.
I bought into the tire. I was there with the tire.
No, I was sold on the tire. The blue paint, I was confused at that moment, but I thought I'd missed something and there was some other paint involved. But yeah, you land on someone as a blue painted man and suddenly the other men are blue.
We better get to our regular features before we burn out
before we
the
run out of
clock
time.
too much, man.
So we gave you a vague rundown on what was required during the film. First of all, we'll go for Spanish words, party time. It's Spanish words, party time.
It's Spanish words.
Party time. It's coming to your house with a bag of chips. Yeah. Which is the part of the podcast where we talk about Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Son of Arnold.
Yeah.
How did you find out he was the son of Arnold?
We Google a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And people tell us things.
We looked at the credits, I think.
What I love about our Facebook page is that we've become a real dumping ground for any small tidbit on anyone who's in the film or its production or anything.
Like,
People go,
the
hey,
page-
did you read this? We're like, nah, that's
The page was
interesting.
going bananas when Paddy got with Miley.
Oh yeah, Miley Cyrus and he have recently hooked up, and everyone was just chomping at the
And
bit to
actually,
let
I've
us
said it
know.
before, I'll say it again, and I felt like a proud parent that we'd sort of tabbed Paddy Schwartz for greatness.
Was that the photo that Arnold Schwarzenegger posted up on his Instagram weeing next to? He was weeing next to his
Yep.
son?
That was odd.
Right. That was an unusual photo to Instagram.
It was a real
weird,
one. Real proud of the man you've grown into, son.
Favorite moment? there were a lot of sort of facials of him just
he's got a
standing.
great face.
There were the whole movie actually was fun watching extras where things were going on, where they were looking, what they were doing, what their faces were doing.
Yeah.
But I think for old Patty Schwartz, probably.
Paddy!
Paddy!
Oh, you know, my Paddy's coming over here.
Patty,
Yeah, boy.
probably the old whoop whoop
Whoop,
whoop
whoop.
whoop.
Paddy
Yeah.
Schwartz is a juggalo. I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Love where your head's
Because
at.
I imagine Patty Schwartz going off to like the big meeting of the Juggalos, face painting going on,
Yeah.
getting real fucked. Oh yeah,
Getting real
Patty
into it.
Schwartz, Juggalos.
Yeah.
And some
Paddy, I
clown
don't like
posse.
you going to these parties. Shut up, Dad. I'm a juggalo now. Deal with it.
Patrick, I did not get to where I am today by going to frat parties every weekend. You need to listen to me.
It's about acceptance, Dad. I'm going to meet my brother.
Patrick, I love you, but you need to listen to what I'm saying.
He's
Where
gone
the fuck
French.
is Arnold Schwarzenegger from,
Apparently
bro?
Venice, all of a sudden.
You
Not
sound
Venice
like
Beach, but
a
actual
European
Venice in
version
Europe.
of text edit.
Whoop whoop for me. It kind of believing he was a juggalo and had that in his background. His character made a lot more sense to
Okay.
me, and so that was
Good.
my
Then
moment.
Good party time.
It's time for us to jump in the bus.
Yeah.
Because
all aboard the
da,
bus.
da, da, bum, 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 bum. Roll up,
Roll up, roll up. It's
roll
a
up
magical
for the
mystery tour. Roll up. Roll up.
the mystery tour. The Steve Buscemi mystery tour is coming to take you away. Coming to take you away.
Too much singing, bro.
Yeah, man. Too
We gotta
much.
pull it in.
A lot more.
Pull it in, boy.
have been in.
So we told you about the Steve Buscemi mystery tour.
Yeah, roughly the fact we haven't watched the first film.
That's right. We
So
haven't.
we don't know what his character's backstory is at all. He made some
He references an injury.
He's got an injury. We want to know how he got it.
Did he do goalposts?
Yeah,
What
he
was that?
did.
It was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
goalpost?
Touchdown symbol, goalpost, yeah. And he's only got 40% feeling in his body. And his arms have been in that position for 2 years.
What could cause that?
What could cause that? Dr. Farrier?
I'm imagining. I mean, from the goalposts, I'm imagining it was some sort of football injury. So I'm imagining, in some sort of comical way, Steve Buscemi made his way onto the field. What do you call it in football? The pitch, the
Field.
the field.
Field's good.
And I think maybe got targeted by some gridiron players that were playing and got taken out.
Yeah.
Absolutely taken out.
What was it? I
And
mean-
it was comical because Steve Buscemi's character was never meant to be on the football field. He's an older guy, he looks a bit
Paperish.
funny, and he just got annihilated.
So how did he get on the field? Was he following a butterfly maybe? Or
I
did
think perhaps this is just the whole referencing the water boy. He was a water boy, perhaps
Yeah.
a
Following
comical
a-
sort of water boy. But maybe my brain's just getting confused from the other Adam Sandler film.
yeah.
And the water boy somehow made it onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Somehow maybe got into uniform.
I smell trouble. He's wearing a
Yeah.
helmet. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then suddenly, boom, maybe he gets given the ball accidentally.
Here's trouble.
And he becomes, he doesn't know whether to run or just... but he freezes. He freezes. He freezes.
What's going to happen to him?
And then the other players on the other team, they all tackle him very hard. Steve just slams down on the ground. Yeah.
You've really sold Guy on this, man.
Yeah,
Guy's
there's
on
probably some
board.
wires involved. He goes flying back, hits his head. There's a real sort of shattering moment. And that's what
That's what
happened.
happened to him. Good theory.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Shit, you came in hot with the features.
That's
Yeah, well,
very
I took
good.
the lead from that sort of goalpost symbol he made with his
Yeah.
hands there at some point.
I was
good
I was
tip-off.
invested in that.
My favourite one of those is that he's a time traveller, though, and he kicked his own ass.
Yeah.
That's my favourite so far. And I thought of it. So it's a really weird one to pick as my favourite.
That's all right.
Very, like,
You're allowed to be proud of yourself.
self-indulgent.
But the one thing, and you may have discussed this before, the one bit of credit I'll
There's a
give to
pretty
the
high
film
chance.
is and I guess that whole I like it wrapped up where it began. They went to bed and that was one day, and you could almost imagine them. They wake up again, does the same day.
This
repeat,
is... Well, I forgot
does
to
it-
finish my sentence with you before. But Salma Hayek actually says, we got to get some sleep because tomorrow is a big day.
Oh, that's because you were talking over that bit.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
So something important did.
No, well,
no.
it's just
there's-
funny.
no, we
It's
don't
a
know what it
funny
is.
line.
But just like, if that's a normal day for that, like, that's not a big day.
Tomorrow's the big
is the
day.
big day. So
Jeez,
all
That
of
was
the shit
just like
has
a
happened.
warm up for Monday.
Has there been any talk of a Grown Ups 3? There must be if it grossed that much.
We actually tried to get one started.
We tried to commission it.
We tried to
Grown Ups
commission it.
3D.
We're thinking about submitting a
Oh,
script.
God, that's good. Jesus.
We're probably running out of time, Tim. Should we just whip through our
Well,
shining
hold
lights?
on. David would like to know the status on Grown Ups 3.
It's going to happen.
Well,
Guaranteed.
I mean,
There
if
has
it made
been-
that, what
it's
you
gonna happen, it's
made
gonna be-
like 230 mil, made for 80 mil, that's a decent sort of profit.
That's good for a studio.
Yeah, I mean, he's
there's been
solely-
talks about the script already. Like David Spade did an AMA, I think. I think it was an AMA
So
on
many
Reddit.
questions here.
Is David Spade still doing stand-up? Is he? I imagine he's doing
Yep.
stand-up in
He's on the
LA and
circuit.
stuff. Yeah, doing
I've
his
seen
thing.
some club videos of him doing his stuff.
I'd like to
Yeah,
see him.
right.
He's good. He's good.
No, it's going to happen. And I mean, they ad-libbed that whole movie, so why would you submit a script? He's got to deal with Netflix. He's just going to whack it in there.
Do we know the editor in that film?
Yeah.
I picture them sitting
Big
in the little
job.
booth and just being handed a bunch of footage. You know, you got a couple of cameras there,
your video camera for 3 months. Here's what we got.
and this
Make me a
editor,
movie.
this editor is probably getting paid quite well. You know, and he just
you'd
slap
hope
it.
so.
There was that fucking fade, that
Yeah, the
fade
cross
to black.
dissolve.
Steve Buscemi
And that
laughed.
was just like an editor just giving up and just being like, oh, Jesus. There's no transition. There's no into this next bit.
Yeah.
I mean, in a newsroom, we use the fade, like the sort of fade between shots when we're pretty desperate.
Sure, 'cause
And we
you've
don't
got
use it that
turnaround
often. We don't
very
use it
quick.
that often. But that's for a story that you're maybe throwing together in an hour.
Yeah.
In a feature film, to fade out, it's almost just admitting defeat.
It's almost worse than that because it's a cross dissolve, so it's not like it goes too black, which would not look good,
It
but
just bleeds into the next scene.
it cross dissolves into what the next scene is. So it's like you're watching a VHS family video for a dad who's just got this new bit of kit that lets you edit VHS home videos.
Yeah, it was
It's
just
got
using the
that.
screeching brake sound effect from PowerPoint.
Exactly. You would like a star wipe would not be out of place after it happens. You'd
And
be
I-
like, "Yep, that's the tone."
I
now.
think that's the one place where the editor really fell over. I think the editor did a pretty... I'm not an editor, I can't talk about this, but I think he did a pretty good job. DOP, terrible. There was some terrible stuff in there. There was like a couple of weird zooms and then like a
David.
cut to another shot. Editor, great. DOP.
Set design.
I don't know,
set
man.
Get rid of him.
design. Set design.
I can't agree.
There was no set design.
I thought it was reasonably well shot.
There was some pretty dodgy stuff.
You
There
reckon
some
it was
pretty weird
dicey?
zooms and then cuts. And
We
then
can disagree. That's fine.
Real movie
That's,
vibe.
that's all good.
Real strong movie vibes.
suddenly the podcast gets really boring.
A genuine disagreement. Oh no.
Listen, the concept is two guys watching a movie once a week for a year, mate. Like it's insane.
Okay, let's do our shining lights and get out of here. I'll finish. I want to go to this barbecue. I don't want to be here
Yeah, you've missed a dinner or something. for this, eh?
remotely. Okay. But thanks very much for coming, David. It's been a real pleasure.
Hey, David,
it's been a real... Thanks for
Really
having me
nice.
on.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the other episodes.
So the shining light is we just all mention our favourite moment from the movie today. And
Do you know what? Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
Guy, you just looked at me like, Tim, have you got one?
Yeah,
I do.
I was scrambling for help.
Well, it's probably been mentioned in the real early on ones, but it was something about the fact that David was here. The jump off Suicide 35.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, cool. All right.
stuff.
Some stunts.
Yeah, good stunts in there. For me, definitely inflatable boat going up because, God, I want to try that now. I've never seen it happen.
Yeah.
Physics were a bit messed up. The guy that was inflating the boat never got blown backwards. He always just
Good point.
boat exploded out from where he was and
Did you do
everyone
physics?
else flew back. I was very good at physics. Very good. But hilarious, you know? Hilarious.
If you can get past the physics of it, a very good bit. A very, very good bit. Mine, I think it's been mentioned before, but I just noticed it today and I love it, is Sherry, that's her name in real life.
Sherry Terry.
Sherry Terry, yeah. She's wearing
Penny.
that T-shirt. Penny, you're pretty shiny Penny. She's wearing a T-shirt. You probably didn't notice it, David. It's his
think I missed it.
his eye, and it's got a picture of Adam Sandler and characters Lenny Fader, Lenny. So it's his eye, Lenny Fader, Lenny on a T-shirt that she's wearing. Isn't that crazy?
It's quite cool.
You are going fucking mental.
It's all there, mate. It's all there on
All,
cellular.
all the main ingredients are in there for a good time.
We would be remiss to finish the episode without also thanking Paul Scheer.
Yeah, absolutely.
For being a good man and including us in his list of 24 hours of ideal podcasting.
A very generous man. And from our home here in Australia, I just like to say cheers and to live every moment.
And love every day.
Because before you know it, your precious time slips away.